Welcome to Kai's Autistic Adventure. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon now. Hi everyone, welcome to Kai's Autistic Adventures, and I thought I'd introduce myself. My name's Andy, I'm Kai's dad, and today I want to talk to you all about Kai's diagnosis and how it came about. Now, I best frame up my life. So I've got 3 other children, all older, all girls. Kai's my only boy, and Kai was born in July of 2013, and the others are quite considerably older. So my eldest is 21, the next one's 20, the next one's 14, and Kai is obviously 6 as we speak today. When he was born, there was a few difficulties. He had the cord wrapped around his neck, he wasn't breathing, and they couldn't get him to cry. Then they rushed him straight to SCBU, Special Care Baby Unit at Basildon Hospital. It was a bit of a harrowing time for the first few days, but they managed to stabilise him. He started eating, and everything was okay from there on in. Bit frightening. So as he was sort of growing up, it was behaving like a normal child would. A lot of people will say this to you, and a lot of people will deny it. Kai, we noticed a change in Kai when he first had his MMR jabs. So although they'll tell you there's loads of medical history and medical proof that nothing happens and XYZ, we noticed a change. Now, whether it was because of a number of different things. Ruth has epilepsy, so takes Epilim, and we found out later that causes fetal abnormalities, including and can cause autism. Whether it was the MMR vaccine, whether it's the fact that I've got autism myself, or being higher function, there's a whole host of different things in that. So essentially what I wanted to talk to you about is how we came across the diagnosis. So whatever the reasons were, if you like, we're at about just over a year old, we noticed a decline after his first lot of MMR jabs. Okay, before that he was saying like dada and all the rest of it as a normal baby would, progressing through the normal steps. But he all of a sudden started to become recluse. He started to not behave like the other 3 had done before him. So we got a little concerned, went to the GP, which is what you should do in the first instances, and he referred us over to a paediatrician, who then we noticed he wasn't eating the same things, he just didn't like certain things. Before we could give him custard and all that sort of stuff, and he would just chomp it down. But he was becoming really, really fussy. He was becoming obsessed with spinning things. He would attack the washing machine and things like that. He would line things up. He would get upset over things that we weren't really used to. He wasn't developing any language skills whatsoever. He'd gone from saying dad, 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 and all the rest of the other stuff to absolutely nothing. So when we went to the paediatrician after lots and lots of pushing, which unfortunately you're going to have to do, they eventually gave Kai a diagnosis of autism. Now, autism has got such a wide spectrum. You've got someone like me with my version that can't deal with anything that's out of place, and then you've got Kai's version, which is, he's just in a far different phase than me. So it's a difficult thing, but you always have to keep pushing for the diagnosis. And then once you've got the diagnosis, it doesn't stop there. You then start to get the support, but there's still a lot of misunderstanding about autism because it takes so many different forms. And with Kai, his behaviours now are different than what it was then, but it doesn't, don't feel that it's a lost cause, because it never is. Never give up hope. Always keep chasing, always keep pushing. But once you get the diagnosis, you can then get access to help. So Kai has speech and language therapy. He goes through an awful lot. I mean, he's 6 years old now, and he's completely incontinent still. And it's not because I don't think he understands the toilet, because I do. It's just something there. It's just not clicking. You know, he can work an iPad like nobody's business, but he can't actually work a toilet seat. Work that out. I mean, that's difficult to understand. He also has massive amounts of food. I took him out for dinner last night, me and his mum, and you know, he will only eat chicken nuggets, chips, and Yorkshire puddings. I mean, you can hardly get anything else down him other than crisps or what they call beige foods. It's really difficult. He will occasionally have an apple. That's very, very occasionally. But you know, all these different things, all these different limitations. But he's coming on leaps and bounds. I mean, we moved from Essex to Lincolnshire because we had an opportunity to buy something where we could live for the rest of our lives, and it's big enough to expand out so that he will have his own home within the home, if you know what I mean. You know, in the garden we can build an outhouse for him, to give him a little bit of independent living. And we did that because obviously, you know, we know the limitations. I mean, with my other children, the chances of them moving out and moving in with another person, getting married and everything else is this big, you know, it's huge. But the chances of Kai doing the same thing is this big. So you have to sort of prepare for that, and you have to move forward. Do you know what I mean? You really have to move forward with that, and you have to forward think. And so, you know, some people aren't as lucky as we are, and I understand that. I do understand that, and anything we can do, we will help anybody, you know. And we got a lot of help earlier on, you know, with people who'd been there before. So don't feel bad about asking people for help, asking people for their experience. There's an awful lot of groups on Facebook that can help you here, you know, ADHD and autism support groups, and they're fantastic. Everybody has a different way of parenting. You know, one thing that sort of comes across is some people are more disciplinarians, some people are more understanding, some people, you know, are in between. There's nothing wrong with parenting the right way. I mean, when they're born, they don't come with a manual. You know, they really don't. And when you've had normal children before, when I say normal, what's normal these days, but when you've had normal children before, it's very, very difficult to sort of understand why they're not behaving in such a way. But going back to the diagnosis, once you get that diagnosis, there's a lot more help available to you. You can go and then get help with benefits, which you're entitled to, okay? So with a disability living allowance, because he's under 16, well, they would be under 16, so make sure you get that. You can then get carers allowance for looking after them, but you can only earn up to £110 a week before you lose it, and you must care for 35 hours a week or more. Kai requires round-the-clock care. I mean, he can't dress himself, he won't be able to, you know, make himself a lunch. He doesn't understand money, so much so in his birthday cards this year, he had some money put in cards. He launched the money because he wasn't interested in it, was too busy interested in the pictures all over the cards. He has absolutely no idea of medication. He doesn't know any stranger danger. He will say hello to everybody and talk to everybody. He has no sense of fear of danger either, so he will walk out in front of traffic and wave at them in the middle of the road. So you know, we really have to protect his environment, and does require a lot of care when it comes to, you know, we've got to look after his welfare. He's a happy little boy, and one thing I would say about him and his autism, he is such a happy little boy, so happy. He's always happy. I mean, he's bumped his head at school somehow. It's like he's fell off something. He's got a massive cut here, well, just a sort of cut there and a graze under the eye. It looks like someone sort of bashed him, but they haven't. He's fallen off one of their apparatus onto the side of his face. I think he cried for about 6 seconds and then wandered off and has been happy ever since. So it's very, very rare that he's unhappy. Anyway, so once you get that diagnosis, that's the important thing. Keep pushing, keep fighting. If you do believe there's something there, always get it checked. Always get it checked. You know, and even if you are having troubles, there's lots of people around to support you. You've got lots of groups on Facebook. There's lots of groups elsewhere that you can get in touch with, and the Autism Society, etc., etc. Don't ever forget that there's people there to help you. And every step of the way, if you want some advice from us, we're more than happy to just message us. Once again, thanks very much for joining Kai's Autistic Adventure. I'm going to be posting a lot more about how Kai is. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews, so don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll get notified when more videos go live. Thanks very much.